Hey guys, I'm Shana and welcome to another Single Over 30 vlog. When I was in my 20s, I had a relationship with a guy that I loved and he loved me. But like a lot of young people, I didn't have the wisdom or maturity to make that relationship last. I mean, I knew a lot about intense feelings, but not a whole lot about commitment. And so to make a long story short, that relationship ended and it was really my fault. But later on, I grieved my decision and that guy that I loved, he ended up marrying someone else. But in the aftermath of that choice, my heart was so broken and I didn't think I was ever going to recover. I was so wounded and I was also afraid to love because I doubted myself, my ability to make a good choice. But if you ask me if I knew I was afraid to love, I'm not sure I could have told you that. In fact, I don't even know if I could have told you much about anything that was motivating me at that time. But there were some things I started doing that were different than I'd done before I got my heart broken. For example, I had this really long list of criteria that someone had to meet before I would consider them a potential date. And sometimes at speaking events, I tease that my list of requirements for a mate was longer than Santa's list for Christmas. Also, if someone did call me and ask me out, right after I hung up the phone, and I'm not kidding, in 3.5 seconds flat, my head started spinning, and within seconds, in my mind, I had met this guy for coffee, I'd met his mother, I got engaged to him, I had married him, birthed his babies, and I was folding his underwear. I had a really hard time living in the moment. But my spinning thoughts should have tipped me off that I was really afraid to love. Also, whenever someone tried to get close to me, if the relationship started getting serious, I would panic. Now, it took me a long time to figure this out, that the way I was responding wasn't just about some defect that I saw in a potential date. It was about the fear that was in my heart. In fact, it took me into my 30s to figure that out. Now, lots of us, after we've been wounded, develop behaviors that if we took the time to pay attention to them and the patterns of those behaviors, they would point straight to the fact that we're afraid, or maybe we're even terrified to love. Now, the thing about these behaviors is that they're always tied to beliefs, either truths or lies, because we always act out what we believe. So maybe you can relate. Maybe there's been a relationship or relationships that you've gone through, and maybe you've gotten burned or you've had your heart broken. Maybe someone's broken your trust, or maybe you've had a string of failed relationships, or maybe even some people who are around you, they've had relationships that aren't good, and so the thought of getting involved with anyone is scary. I want to encourage you. I am living proof that God can get you over the fear of loving, because I really thought I was never ever going to be able to let someone into my heart and to my life. So this week I'd like to encourage you that it is possible to love, or even love again, even if you're afraid. I've also created a special freebie for you this week. I've started loving making those, that if you feel or have ever felt that it's not safe to love, this freebie is going to be for you. It's called Safe to Love, and it's going to help you sort through some of the beliefs that you have that may be preventing you from giving your heart away. I hope you're encouraged. I hope it's helpful, and leave a comment for me below, and I'll see you next week.